Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to CirclingSeattleSports on Converge Media. I am your host, as always, Charles Hammaker. I am not joined today by Belle Garcia. Belle has some prior occupations during today's recording, so she won't be with us for today's episode. With that being said, things continue to happen in our Seattle sports world. The Seawolves played in the MLR title match. We'll get into that. The Sounders had a nice match, revenge match against Sporting Kansas City. This Mariners had a nice road trip. So there's still a ton going on. So with that being said, we'll just get right into it. In terms of Seahawks-related news, not too much going on for the actual Seahawks themselves. Some league-related news in addition to this little tidbit that we have for the Seahawks, but it's mostly league-related news when we get over to our NFL side of things. On the 23rd of the month of June, the Seahawks announced their official training camp report dates for rookies and veterans. Rookies and veterans both will have to report to training camp on the 26th of July, and we have a schedule for training camp for fans to attend and such. So the 27th and 28th are attendable days. The 27th is a season ticket holder only day. The 30th, August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th, 10th, 16th, and 21st are the rest of the days for training camp that fans can attend. The 6th is a off-site training camp day at Lumen Field, so that's going to be interesting to see that. But this is more stuff that, we're going to head back into the NFL season. Obviously, there's a lot of news around the Seahawks in relation to quarterback play and, how will this team go forward without Russell Wilson, without Bobby Wagner? So there's a lot of headlines to be made. There's a lot of spots to be taken for the respective players on this roster. There are a lot of roster spots to fill, a lot of spots on the depth chart to be made out. So this is where a lot of that starts to form here in training camp. Guys who are undrafted free agents could take spots from draft picks. This is where that all starts to begin, and potential news about DK Metcalf and a new contract. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, but that's still to come next month around this exact time that we're at right now. So with that being said, we'll move on here from any Seahawks-related news and head into NFL League news. On the 20th of June, Dan Snyder doubled down on his decision to refuse to participate in any hearings. The Commanders owner refuses to remotely participate in Wednesdays that day. This past week, congressional hearing after first declining to appear in person. So didn't want to show up in person, didn't want to show up online. We'll get to more Snyder news here in a second. On the 21st, tight end Rob Gronkowski announced his retirement. Gronkowski retires for the second time in his NFL career, deciding not to join Tampa Bay and Tom Brady this upcoming season. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, hinted to that not necessarily being the full end of things for Gronkowski, saying that it would not surprise him if Gronkowski later joined Brady in Tampa Bay at some point this upcoming season. I wouldn't doubt it either. I mean, I figured when Brady retired this offseason, then he'd be back anyway, and I was right about that. So on the 21st, Deshaun Watson settled 20 of his 24 lawsuits. The Browns quarterback has reached a settlement in 20 of the 24 sexual misconduct lawsuits that he's facing. The attorney that was representing all 24 of these women said some more news on Watson there. On the 22nd, we get back to that Snyder-related news. Snyder's going to be subpoenaed. A representative by the name of Caroline Maloney said that in Wednesday's hearing that she plans to issue the Commanders owner a subpoena in order to compel him to testify. So things getting interesting in Washington, as they have been for what feels like decades for that organization. But, in the last few years with Snyder, it just seems like there's been more and more against him for the franchise to want to get him out. On the 25th, Watson is a hearing scheduled. The Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will have a hearing next week with the NFL disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson. He may be out indefinitely. The NFL is going to push for an indefinite suspension for Watson, lasting no less than 1 year. So he could be out for a year at minimum. That's still to be determined fully. And then also on the 25th, it was announced that the NFL will not hold a supplemental draft for the third straight year. On the 26th, as we're looking here to wrap things up, we have some more news on the idea of a Deebo Samuel trade, when that might happen, if it might happen. The 49ers star receiver has not officially rescinded his trade request, despite being involved in team activities and such. The team is still hoping that they can mend the relationship, but I feel like if he requested this trade earlier in the offseason, and he's gone through team activities just to go through that and not deal with fines, and he hasn't rescinded that, it's really going to be interesting to see how that plays out, not only with Debo, but also what the 49ers are going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo, because I know that there's talks about a mutual interest in him being traded, and then the report coming out that Garoppolo wants to go and help a team win somewhere. It's like the 49ers have a ton of talent. Granted, they're in a really tough division, but the Garoppolo situation is a little bit funny to me. And then wrapping up league news on the 27th, a lawsuit was filed against the Texans. Plaintiff's lawyer in the Watson case announces the first suit being filed against the team for allegedly enabling the quarterback's behavior. So we will now look ahead. We have some actual semblance of a date to look ahead to training camp. It's not just, we'll have training camp in late July. We'll go back here on the 26th July. The training camp period starts for Seattle. We'll start to hear maybe an idea of when we'll hear a starter, Drew Lock or Geno Smith. Hopefully get DK Metcalf extended, because that's more so when the Seahawks actually do their extensions. So there's a lot that goes into training camp. So that'll be really exciting to see.